Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Beaton, joined by the one, the only, the Fantasy Master Lothar himself, Gray Albright. How's it going over there, Gray?
Hey, what's going on, man? Oh, if you're watching on YouTube, you can watch me play a little tiny piano. I don't know why my background is different. I don't know what's going on, man. I am not there. Wherever this is, that's not where I am. But yeah, hey, what's up, Beaton? Hey,
I'm exactly here, Gray, right here.
How about those Bears, huh? Or should I say, oh man, what a bum rap they got? Or how do you? I don't know. I don't watch. If it's because we're recording this as the Bears game is happening, so if it's go Bears and they do well, then yay. But if it's oh no, what happened, and they do poorly, then we have you could just edit it so we have whichever one we need.
All right. Yeah, I'll go back and edit the podcast. I get paid enough to do that, and I have software for that.
Yeah,
that's gonna happen. Raising a fake house,
I was speaking of football. I was saying to Cougs because Beaton on Sunday, Beaton reached out to me. I was at brunch. I do brunch like a real Angelino. So I'm at brunch and I get a text from Beaton and he's like, "Oh, I just wrote up an article for football.razzball.com about the first half of the football games," and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can publish it when I get home because Sky, our football editor, wasn't near a computer. So Beaton was asking me to publish it. So I was like, yeah, no problem. So I get off, I put my phone down. I tell Cougs what's going on, and she's like, Beaton's right. What? And I'm like, I think Beaton has a serious girlfriend now, so he's like not going out and drinking as much, maybe. I don't know. I think he's become responsible, and he's like writing stuff. I don't
know. Gray, I would love for that to be the case, and then like I'm getting more responsible and things. Really, normally I have a buddy who comes over Sunday and we pretty much watch like the first, set of games and maybe the second set of games. He had a kid, so I can no longer hang out with him on Sunday. Also, I just thought it was a funny concept to write a article about the first half of week 1 of the first set of games. And so I wrote it up, and I don't know if anybody actually read it, but I wrote it up. It's out there if you want to go read it and then see how wrong I was about the second half about what was going to happen. I was just sitting there, and just dawned on me to write it, Gray. That's honestly what happened there.
you could, if you want, you could do like me, and so after I publish my preseason rankings, and they get locked in at the end of March, right before the season starts. And then in like May, June, I go in and I fiddle with all the rankings, so I look a lot smarter than I actually was. So if you want
to remember that trick, Greg.
Yeah, I can go into your Sunday post and make you look smarter if you need it.
I'll have to send you what to change, but yeah, well, we can work on that, Gray. Let's. Football season is full swing, Gray, but we're not there. There's plenty of great content on football.razzball.com. There's great stats over there. There's stats that you can't really get anywhere else over there, or if you get them, you're paying a very hefty fee. So go check out football.razzball.com. Lots of great stuff going over there. You're a podcast person. We got our football podcast up. I don't know if I'm doing one this year or not because I couldn't rope Rudy in. And DT has disappeared into another hut, I think. So we will see about finding a podcast partner. But until then, Gray is my podcast partner, and we are doing baseball. let's talk about Brandon Sproat. He was called up by the Mets, 121 innings this year. He had a 4.24 ERA, a 1.24 WHIP. He had a 22.1% strikeout rate and a 10.4% walk rate. Back in the preseason long ago, before we changed our ranks, Itch had him as his number 2 Mets prospect, Gray. He does have a 96 mile-an-hour fastball, sinker, slider, occasional curve and change. Did throw the curve a good amount in his first start. What are your thoughts on Brandon Sproat? Where are you looking at adding him to your roster? Or are you looking to?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I'm going to immediately talk like an oxymoronic dope and say that I wouldn't add him, but I did add him. If that makes any sense. I would say that I wish I kind of wish I would have reached out to Itch and texted him and asked him what his thoughts on Sproat were for this season, because I'm inferring what I think Itch was thinking, because Itch wrote him up, as you mentioned, he was his number 2 Mets prospect in the preseason, and then Itch didn't mention Sproat at all during the season, like on any of his stash lists. So I'm kind of assuming that Sproat sort of fell off his radar because he didn't really have a very good season. So I think that's what happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm putting words in Itch's mouth. But I would assume that's what happened, because Sproat didn't really have that great of a season. I mean, his command was really wonky. A near 4 walk per 9, a 8.4 K per 9, a 4.24 ERA, and that's in 121 innings. It's a lot of innings. So I think out of Jonah Tong and McLean, Sproat is my least favorite of those 3. So I'm not really that interested in Sproat. And if this were like May or June, I'd probably be saying, use caution. I wouldn't be telling you to grab them in like a 12-team mixed league or anything. But at this point, with all that said, I mean, there's so little time left that if you are struggling to find a starter, I believe he gets the Rangers this week, a team that's not very good. They've lost Adolis Garcia. They've lost Corey Seager. They lost Evan Carter. Actually, those 3 guys, losing them is probably a good thing for them. So maybe they've actually gotten better since they've lost those guys. But no, I mean, they've really struggled offensively this year. So, and I think Sproat is at home. So I feel like the matchup's okay. It's not bad. I picked up Sproat in a NL only league. I didn't pick him up in a 12-team mixed league. I probably, for a streamer, I mean, it's fine. I'm not really sold that he's really either ready or, he's not exciting me with his numbers, at least. I'm kind of like whatever on him. But with all that said, I mean, it's so late in the year that if you really need a starter, then, go for it, whatever. But I feel like you probably can do better. There's guys on waivers, like people are mentioning in the comments, guys like Emmett Sheehan, who gets the Rockies this week. I mean, that is better than Sproat, in my opinion. Sheehan, just in general, I think is better. But yeah, so there's probably guys available in some leagues where if you're looking for someone, you could probably do better than Sproat. But I mean, if you really need it against the Rangers at home, is not the worst of matchups.
Yeah, and in regards to the prospect ranking, Sproat did go through 3 levels last season. When you go through 3 levels and you look really good through the majority of the 2 levels, you kind of get a pass for the 3rd. He did struggle a little bit in AAA, but he is a good prospect. He came in and is a more developed college arm. He does have the pedigree to be a good pitcher, but I'm with you that I think if we asked Itch where they would have ranked before their call up, I'm sure Nolan McLean probably would have moved above him, given what he did at AAA. At least Nolan McLean, if not Jonah Tong, as you mentioned. I'm just going to throw some names that I have in my streamer options, Gray, that'll kind of ruin what we're going to do later. But hey, let's throw some names. You already mentioned Emmett Sheehan. Would you rather have Ian Seymour at the White Sox or Brandon Sproat versus the Rangers?
I think actually I'd go Ian Seymour. I like what I've seen so far from him.
Okay. Let's go with a couple of old guys here. Max Scherzer versus Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean, I think Scherzer was tipping on the sorry. I just put on the Mets game. I think Scherzer was tipping his pitches this weekend, which accounts for why he struggled so badly. I still trust him. I trust Scherzer to figure it out. I would go Scherzer.
I agree. And if you go this one over Sproat, we will know where he belongs. Martin Perez at Cleveland or Brandon Sproat versus Texas?
Martin Perez over no one.
Okay.
No, Martin Perez. Martin Perez, no.
All right, that's fair. He has been fairly solid for like a month and a half, but it is Martin Perez. He's only going to help you so much, even when he's going as good as he can go. So completely understand there. Let's move on, Gray. Let's talk about some of the second half performers and really some of the second half leaders in their stats. And as we're looking at the numbers in general, home runs are up second half compared to first. That could be warm weather. That could be a random new ball that got introduced. We'll never really know that part of it, Gray. But for most home runs in the second half right now, it is Kyle Schwarber. I said in the preseason, I said in the second half rankings, we always underrank him. We always underdraft him. He is currently number 5 on the season-long player rater. He has 49 home runs, 10 stolen bases, 98 runs, 120 RBIs. He's hitting 242, 366, 563. He has a career best hard hit rate, average exit velocity, and barrel rate. Are we going to do it again next year, Gray? What are we doing with Kyle Schwarber? Why do we keep underestimating the Schwarbomb?
We are going to underrate Kyle Schwarber again. We will continue to make the same mistakes that we made in the past, continuing into the future. We will never, ever fix our mistakes. Sorry. Our mistakes will continue for as long as we want, okay? Yeah, man. Kyle Schwarber is actually a really difficult one for me specifically, because even in the preseason, at the All-Star break, I did a top 100, and in my top 100, I admittedly point out how I was too low on Kyle Schwarber. Like I underrated him in the preseason. Absolutely. I goofed up. I messed up. I dropped the ball. Okay. And then in the second half rankings, I did it again. I continue to do it. I messed up again. I absolutely underrated him in the second half rankings too. I just continue to underrate Kyle Schwarber, and I think I might do it again next year. I'm not doing it on purpose, but I think I'm going to. So Schwarber for me is difficult because, I don't like the 2 years where he hit barely 200 are really throwing. It's like it's messing with my head a little bit, because I feel like he's hitting 240 plus now 2 years in a row, but I can't help but look at him and think he's a 220 or lower hitter. I struggle with it, and like last year he definitely fixed his launch angle. It was a lot he leveled it off. He hit a lot fewer fly balls, which in a lot of ways was better for him, because he was still hitting enough fly balls to hit for power, but he hit fewer to hit for a better average. It absolutely did not hurt that they got rid of the shift either. So that definitely has helped them. That's probably the shift being done away with has probably added 20 points on his average, if we're being fair. So I thought he was a 210 hitter. Maybe he's neutrally a 230 hitter. My problem is if he hits 38 homers like he did last year and hits 230 and steals 5 bags, it's not really a top 20 type guy that I want, right? I would prefer someone who is a little bit more well-rounded. So say if you're looking at like him or Jackson Churio in the end of the first round next year, where I think they're probably going to be relatively close to each other. I mean, Churio to me is just more well-rounded. He has upside. It's a bit of a struggle for me to get fully invested in Kyle Schwarber. So yes, I'm going to underrate him again next year. Again, I'm going to continually. I will absolutely mess up. Sorry. I'm sorry for future Gray. I can't help myself. I wish I could. Also, he's going to be he's a free agent, so he could potentially be somewhere else next year. I wouldn't be shocked if the Phillies back up the Brinks truck and make sure he stays a Philly for the rest of his career. It wouldn't shock me if that happens. He fits well into that lineup. They seem to really love him. He does well in that park. So I wouldn't shock me if he stays a Philly. There's certain places where I would be a little bit even more timid on Schwarber. Like if he goes to the Mariners, I doubt they pay for his services, but it wouldn't really be great for him there. San Diego wouldn't be awesome. It wouldn't be my favorite place. The Rangers would be awful. I would really not like to see him in Arlington. But yeah, I mean, I'd kind of be shocked if he's not a Philly again. I feel like he's going to just return to the Phillies, but I guess we'll see on that. But yeah, I mean, in general, I feel like he's going to be top 12 next year in the preseason rankings, and I think I'm going to be lower than that on him. I don't think I'm going to be quite there for him. So yeah, I think I'm going to miss out on Kyle Schwarber again. And I really do like him. Like for real baseball, like he's fun. I like watching him. Like I don't have any real problems with Kyle Schwarber. Like, but I just struggle with his profile when it comes to fantasy.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a specific profile that has ways to go wrong. That being said, the season you mentioned last season where he hit 248 and only hit 38 home runs, he was still number 12 on the hitter player rater. So I do think having him in the first round is probably fair after this season. I know you threw out the number 12. I feel like there's going to be enough people kind of in your camp, and there's more exciting, power combo speed players. Like, I still feel like he's going to drop to where he shouldn't. Like, it's just going to happen, even though year after year he does it. And yes, I pray he doesn't end up in any of those destinations you mentioned. I wouldn't hate it if he ended up back in Wrigley. The Cubs, I feel like maybe Schwarber was the one free agent they kind of whiffed on letting go, even though it seemed like a really good move. We went to, he was hitting 188 when he left us. So it felt like a pretty decent move. But I could see that happening, especially if they don't back up the Brinks truck for Kyle Tucker and they let him walk for some stupid reason. I could definitely see them going after Schwarber. I did see the Phillies supposedly offered him 5 years, 150. So, I mean, that feels fair for Schwarber, especially since he doesn't play defense in any way, shape, or form. But I think that's less than Matt Chapman got, and that doesn't really seem fair considering the two offensive profiles. So I don't know. let's move on. Contract stuff isn't really our stuff, anyways. There was other people close to the home run lead, and Kyle Schwarber, Junior Caminero, we just talked about. Colson Montgomery talked about recently. Shea Langoliers, Otani, who we don't even have to talk about. We know he's amazing. And, of course, second half, Julio Rodriguez is up there. But a guy who is number one on the 7-day player rater is up here, Gray, for the second half home run leaders. And that is Joe Adell, who has 16 home runs, 2 stolen bases, and is at 243 in the second half. He has 35 home runs, 5 stolen bases, and hitting 243 for the season. We've got a career best average exit velocity, hard hit, and barrel from him as well. You know, it may not look like what I had pictured when we heard about Joe Adell for the first time, but is this the Joe Adell breakout?
Yeah. yeah, I think so. I look at his numbers, and I'm actually, it's like I'm not. If a guy breaks out, which I think Joe Adell has broken out, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be, I'm not gonna fight it. I for a while, Joe Adell really did nothing for me. I'll be honest. I was one of the last people who really got on the Joe Adell bandwagon. I for many years, people were a lot more interested in his numbers than I was. I didn't think he was capable of hitting for a decent average. I really didn't see. I didn't see the upside. And it did take him close to 35 years to get there. No, he's not. He's actually not that old. He's only 26. He doesn't turn 27 until April, which is surprising, but because it did take him like 4 decades to finally break out. Thank you, Angels coaching staff. So they are really they're working with a lot over there. I think Joe Adell is like, you look at his numbers and you're like, okay, so the power looks real. The average now, I mean, you mentioned he's cut his strikeout. So I mean, he's hitting 243 as we record this. I think he's a 240 hitter, which is 245, somewhere in there, 250. That's fine. I mean, that is okay. 35 homers definitely looks real. He's actually, stealing a lot fewer bags, which I think, when Ron Washington, when he comes back next year, which I do believe he will be back, because it would be something for the Angels to fire him after a quadruple bypass. Just like, I feel like there's probably HIPAA laws or something against, like, there's workers' comp or something. You can't. I don't know if you can, like, leave it to the Angels. They probably will find a way. No, they seem actually very committed to Ron Washington. For I don't know if I fully buy into that for the reasons that they do, but I do think Ron Washington will steal a bunch of bags. Like, he will have his players steal a bunch of bags, that is. So I think Joe Adell actually, this year probably is going to look, in hindsight, after next year, I think he's probably going to do better next year for steals. So if you have the same amount of power, 35 homers, and you get a 245 average, and you throw in 15 steals with that looks really good. Right now he's barely in the top 100 on the player rater. That probably has a lot to do with the fact that he has 57 runs, which is awful. But that's you can't blame him for that. So if he gets 35 homers and 15 steals next year and a 245 average, that's really kind of interesting. That's like, I don't know, maybe top 70 in a preseason rank type. Yeah, I'm in on Joe Adell. I mean, I'm not like, I don't think he's a top 25 player, but top 25 outfielder. Yeah, absolutely. I'm bought in on Joe Adell.
Yeah, I think he's he's looked good this year, and I believe in everything he's done to make it to this point. I think there's still a little bit of speed that can come back. I think the average can continue to improve a little bit. I don't think it's going to, shoot up to be the 300 hitter we thought he was going to be when we thought he'd be 340 home runs and 20 stolen bases or more. I don't think that's necessarily coming, but I think it can all kind of continue to tick up. they've just wrecked his arbitration and everything. I mean, he's still got, as long as we've been listening about Joe Adell Gray, still 2 more years of arbitration after this before he's a free agent. That's absolutely crazy. And in regards to the runs, I mean, when you can get Yohan Moncada batting out of the 3-hole for you, and you can have my number one avoid of the season, Luis Rengifo, right behind him, along with all the other castaways they got, along with Moncada. They got Peraza, who the Yankees didn't even want anymore, Travis d'Arnaud, who's like 60 years old, Chris Taylor. I don't know how the Dodgers let 38-year-old Chris Taylor get away from him. Scott Kingery. Like, they just sign off castaways that didn't work elsewhere that we were excited about like 7 years ago when they were excited about Joe Adell. Actually, they weren't excited. That was the problem. They were excited about Joe Adell. He might have actually, developed like he should have. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a mess there. It's not Adell's fault where they have him hitting or who they have hitting behind him.
They're gonna be like the Angels this offseason is gonna be like, we're gonna get Sterling Marte to lead off. Yeah, we're bringing in Ryan O'Hearn to hit third. We're gonna have let's see who else. Oh, wait, is Javi Baez? Is there a way to trade for him? Because he's starting to come around.
Career resurgence, yeah. Let's get in on that.
Resurgence looks really good right here from Anaheim, which is nowhere near Los Angeles. The Javi Baez resurgence looks really good, man. Christopher Morel feels like he would really fit into their plan.
Yeah, I mean they could probably add like Yandy Diaz. That'd be a good look for him. Maybe Ramon Laureano. He gets a new team every season randomly in July. That's another fun one. Yeah, I mean there's plenty of guys they could add behind him to do the same thing that's happening.
If there's a place in MGM, Bet MGM, if they have a bet where I can put money on Paul DeJong playing for the Angels next year. Let me make that bet right now.
Oh yes, please. Oh my goodness, yes. Guy that we don't really bet on, Gray. Maybe we should. Maybe he's starting to earn it. But that's Willy Adames. We just kind of don't believe in him, I guess. But he keeps doing it. In fairness, in the first half, he went 220, hit 12 home runs and 4 stolen bases. You wanted him nowhere near your roster. And in the second half, he's hit 245, better than the first half. 15 home runs, more home runs, and 5 stolen bases, more stolen bases, and 52 less games. I mean, I think we have to give Adames credit here for the power, like we were talking about previously with Schwarber and even Adell, like the power. He's done it 3 or 4 years. He looks like he's gonna be a 30 home run guy. But like, do you really like? Can we move him up our ranks? Can you believe in him more? Because this is another guy you and me specifically do not want to end up with this guy most draft seasons.
No, I don't. And his second half hasn't done really much of anything to dissuade me of my hate for Willy Adames. I don't love like the fact that I don't know if he could have done anything really in the second half to sort of assuage my feelings on him. I am kind of out because like if you're drafting a guy like it's okay, so it's a little bit cost dependent, just like every guy is. But Willy Adames, if he goes where I think he's probably going to go, which is, roughly around like 100 overall, I'm out because like if you're drafting a guy who say, hits 12 homers in the first half and 220, I can't like if he does that again, I'll feel like such a sucker. Like come like June 1st, it'll be awful. You don't want that on your team for the first 3 months of the season. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if he comes out of it, it won't matter by that point because, it's like if a guy's that bad in the first half, it's just going to be like, you're going to either want to sell him for cheap, or you're gonna be so far out of it, you're gonna be like, who cares? It's like, it's not worth it. It's just too much of a hole he's dug himself in the first half of this past season, where I don't want to have anything to do with it. And it's really like, it's kind of a career-long thing where he just hits better in the second half, which is fine. I'm glad he's able to come out of it somewhat in the second half, but I don't want that on my fantasy teams. Like, it's just not worth it. It's a little bit cost dependent, of course. Like, if he's going, like 170 or something in drafts, which I don't think he will, but if he's going that late, I don't know, maybe in some leagues I'll take a flyer on him, like in a 15-team mixed league, where if he's as late as an MI, okay, but he's not a shortstop. I wouldn't draft him as a shortstop. I really would prefer not to have him. He really struggles in San Francisco, his home park, which is like, if you're struggling in, your home park, it's like you have to rely so much on, road trips, and it's really not worth it. I don't know. I'm still not really sold on Willy Adames. I'm kind of out.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Gray. Like you said, if you can get him as a late shortstop or a middle infielder, that's fine, but he'll probably go ahead of that, just given the raw numbers at the end of the season. You'll look up, he'll have 30 home runs, and we've hit 240, 235, somewhere in that area, and you'll just be like, that's fine. He's done it, but it's done in such a manner that's so hideous for you that you just have to run him out and wait for like the hot streak to happen, Gray. Let me give you his averages by month through this season, Gray, and you tell me how much you want of this. 208, 206, 216, 337, moving up, 190, 222.
That sounds terrible. I don't even know how.
So if you didn't start him July, you missed out on like 2 home runs and like his 500 week. Like, you've missed out on a majority of what he's giving you. It's just, it'd be fine in like a draft and hold, a best ball type of format type of thing. But I don't think I want to deal with his headache week in, week out, day in, day out of daily leagues. Like, it's just too much. I know the numbers are there in the end of the season, but I'd rather just go in another direction. And then, if I want to trade for Willy Adames or Julio Rodriguez, I'll do that July 1st rather than dealing with them being terrible all first half for me. And heaven forbid Willy Adames doesn't kick out of that terrible first half and he just ends up being a 220, 26 guy. And you're like, oh, that's even bad for middle infield.
Right. Yeah, no, totally. Like, that's the real fear. It's like, you Willy Adames, you're like, well, at least he'll be good come July. And then if he's not good in July and August, you're like, oh, well, that was awful.
I just wrote out 4 months for nothing.
Who do I write to get my money back? This is terrible. That's why, like, yeah, I agree, man. I wouldn't want any part of them. It's just not worth it.
7 years, 182. That's what Willy Adames got from San Francisco, Gray. Yeah, if I'm Schwarber, I'm not taking 150 either, if I'm being honest. I'm just like, give me more than Willy Adames got at least. Yeah, let's be respectful here.
There's always a chance, though, that the Rockies will be like, we'll take the last 6 years and send you $200 million. And then if Willy Adames is in Coors, I'm kind of interested.
If Willy Adames gets in Coors, yes, that's all of a sudden really interesting, Gray. Another interesting tidbit here: most stolen bases in the second half. Juan Soto.
Wow.
That random drop off that we thought was going to come from leaving the Yankees and looking terrible to begin the season. We forgot Juan Soto just looks terrible to begin every season. He's now number 4 on the season long player rater. We're not going to talk about him. That's Juan Soto. He's looking great. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is really where I'm going with. He's on that stolen base leaderboard as well. Obviously, the power speed combo is there, but the average is not great, Gray. He's hitting 239 this season, but he has his 28 home runs, 27 stolen bases to go along with it. In the second half, he's hitting 222 But again, that comes with 11 home runs and 17 stolen bases. Where are you at on Jazz for next season? Are you jazzed about him, or are you more bluesy?
I want to say about Juan Soto real fast. So I was saying on the site that I think he was eyeing a 40-30 season. I said that last week. And now, since I said that, I believe he's eyeing a 40-40 season, which is just crazy. And it shows you how nuts it like with steals, where it really just is a matter of whether or not a guy wants to run. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, we see it with Josh Naylor more so than anyone who will ever run, right? But Juan Soto, I mean, the fact that he's running this much, I mean, he's not a fast guy. It really, it shows you that it's just a matter of how much a player really wants to steal more than anything else with the pitch clock. So yeah, I mean, anyway, going to Jazz Chisholm Jr., I like Jazz Chisholm more than I think I thought I would. I like him a lot with, because I feel like in Yankee Stadium, because it looks like he's not a free agent until 2027. So that means he's going to be a contract. He's going to be in a contract year next year in Yankee Stadium, which I'm sure I won't be I might be the first one to point it out, but I won't be the last. That I like Jazz Chisholm Jr. in a contract year. I do think the only thing stopping him from like a huge year is his health. And, it's a lot of fluky injuries. I don't think he's necessarily injury prone. I think he probably just has to take it a little bit easy in certain situations, like when he's, when he's running and when he's stealing bags or when he's sliding. I think if he's capable of staying on the field for 145 plus games next year, I feel like a 30-30 season is the baseline, and I think he can go higher on both of those numbers. I mean, call me crazy, but in Yankee Stadium in a contract year, a 40-40 260 year, him being a top 10 overall fantasy player, I wouldn't kick that out of bed. I'll tell you that. I know his strikeouts are up a little bit this year, but they're not up to the point where I'm really that nervous. Sure, his batting average is down. He's being a little bit more aggressive. All of that is true. I'm fine with it though. I feel like the power at 30 homers a baseline and 30 steals as a baseline. I mean, he's doing this. He's a 30-30 guy right now in roughly 120 games. If he's able to stay on the field for a full season, I really like Jazz Chisholm Jr. a lot. I think I'm going to be the high guy with my preseason ranks for him. I'm kind of excited for Jazz Chisholm Jr. next year. I'm in.
Yeah, I think I'm going to eventually end up building myself a narrative to get in on Jazz Chisholm. As you mentioned, it is a contract year. It feels like Jazz is one of those guys that could potentially, put in the extra work for that season. Also, the fly ball rate has gotten out of control. It's 50.6%. That's absolutely crazy, which is why the average has come down, why the BABIP is down. Like, just because his career BABIP is 300 doesn't necessarily mean he returns back to that without making these adjustments to get back under 50%, over 50% fly ball. But he's been like a 35-40% fly ball guy all his career. The launch angle is definitely down in the second half, so I think he's understanding that he's gotten a little too lift heavy, a little too launch heavy. So I can definitely see a scenario where the average does come back. That should also help the strikeouts, because him with a higher vertical, swing is harder to make contact, harder to make consistent contact. So that should help the average, the strikeouts, all that should be helped by that. And all that benefits us. And as we saw last season when he got to New York, he doesn't need to be hitting 50% fly balls to give us power. He can do that, and we know the speed is there. So, yeah, as much as I would like to say I don't love the high strikeouts and the fly ball and and the average. I'm probably in on Jazz Chisholm, but I'm putting him behind Schwarber Gray. That's happening. I'm making that right now. A guy that I don't know, and actually one more thing on Soto, since you brought it up and mentioned it. It would be cool just as a baseball player to be joined, and be the 19th person to do 40-30 or the 7th person to do 40-40. Like, those are pretty exclusive clubs. So I can understand why he's going for it, but it does seem pretty random just to randomly do this as the Mets are trying to actually win for a change. I don't know. A guy that's not going to be below Schwarber probably for both of us is Corbin Carroll, Gray. First half, we saw power hitter Corbin Carroll. In the second half, we're seeing stolen bases, average Corbin Carroll. First half, he had 245, 21 home runs, 11 stolen bases. Second half, he had 284, 9 home runs, 14 stolen bases. All that adds up to 30 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and a 259 average, along with many of the guys we talked about early in the show. Career best average exit velocity, career best hard hit rate and barrel, and he's still a top 10 sprint speed guy. What are your thoughts on Corbin Carroll? The expectations may be a little kind of all over the place, but they're all pretty good, right?
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's a good way of putting it, because it's like his power feels kind of like random and his steals feel all over the place and his average feels all over the place. It's all kind of like vague, like what are you going to get from Corbin Carroll from season to season? But with all that said, I mean, it does look like, once you do a thing, you should own it. And he's hit 30 homers now. So I feel like he owns that. So he should be able to hit 30 homers again. He's also not that old. He turned 25 in August. So, yeah, I think the power is probably at its peak with, 30 to 35 homers, which is good. That's great considering that I don't believe the speed has gone away from like when he was able to steal 50 bags. Like, he's still very fast. So I don't know, maybe he doesn't steal 50 bags because he's a 3-hole hitter now. And he's like, his health is important. He wants to stay on the field. So maybe he's not running every time he gets on base. But if he's like a 50 steal guy and you even take off 20 steals just because he's being more conservative about when he's running, still like a 32, 35, 35 guy, 32, 32 guy, 30, 30 guy even. And he's neutrally, he's a 260 hitter as a 3-hole guy. So he's going to get the runs and RBIs that goes with that. I'm absolutely in on Corbin Carroll. I'm above Schwarber with Carroll, I think almost definitely. Corbin Carroll is going to be drafted for me before Schwarber. I think Corbin Carroll feels like a baseline 30, 30, 260 guy where it feels like there's upside on all those, especially steals. Like, I do think, the fact that right now Juan Soto has more steals than Corbin Carroll is just proof that Corbin Carroll, I think, if he wants to, he could steal 50 plus bags, like no problem at all. I think in reality is he just doesn't want to steal that many bags, which is fine. But if he's a 35 guy with a 260 average, that's easy top 10 player for me. I'm absolutely in on Corbin Carroll.
Yeah, Soto, Josh Naylor definitely proving a point in regards to stolen bases. I'm in on Carroll as well. Like I said, I don't know exactly what you're getting, but all of it has the potential to be very good. And if he can put it all together, we can get that season we really want, which is like 35, 50, 290. That would be lovely. I don't know if we're going to get that, but he's still only 24 years old. There's all sorts of promise here, Gray, of what could happen with Corbin Carroll. A guy who could challenge Corbin Carroll in a sprint speed race, which there's not many of, is Chandler Simpson. He is all speed, though, for the most part here. I mean, 93 games. He's got 39 stolen bases. He's hitting 287, 321, 336. He has a 10% strikeout rate, a 5% walk rate. In the second half, he's hit 264. He has 13 stolen bases. What are we doing with Chandler Simpson for next year? Because, it's not a Corbin Carroll situation. We're not getting power out of him. But we should get a lot of speed. And really, like, I'm looking at it, and, the average hasn't been bad. What's going on here with Chandler Simpson? You like Chandler Simpson?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I like Chandler Simpson a ton. I think looking at his numbers, like he looks like he is a guy who could steal potentially 75 bags and hit 290, like a Juan Pierre in his heyday type insane year. I don't think we're going to get any power. Like he's not going to be Jose Reyes in his prime. So we're not going to get like a random like 12 homers and 70 steals, but we may get 0 homers, but 70 steals plays, man. It plays big time. I'm all about Chandler Simpson. I think, he also, he definitely is steals first for sure, but he's hit 300 at multiple stops in the minor leagues. He's got a 10% strikeout rate right now in the majors as a rookie. He really makes a ton of contact, which for a guy like him, like he has the perfect batted ball profile for a player who could steal 75 plus bags. Like he is that guy who could hit 290 plus and steal 70 bags, which is like, it's like that wins you steals for sure, but it doesn't kill you. It shouldn't kill you in runs. It won't kill you. It's actually a positive in average. Like that's a sneaky top, 30 type season on the player rater where you're getting it for a lot cheaper. I feel like he's going to be underdrafted. I'm liking Chandler Simpson a lot already. I'm already like I'm in before we've even started here. I'm like we're not even done with this year, and I'm already on Chandler Simpson for next year. I'm absolutely excited about him. I like him a lot. I wouldn't expect any power or any RBIs, but in runs, steals, and average, he's gonna. I feel like he's gonna surprise people with how good he's gonna be on the player rater at the end of next year. I'm really excited about him.
Yeah, if we just take him, we combine him with Schwarber, we basically have a lower average Ohtani.
Yeah, if you take Simpson and you combine him with a guy who I'm probably not drafting, it's perfect. My imaginary team that I haven't drafted is really good right now.
Yeah, they always are great. Even once you've drafted them, they're really good until opening day.
Yeah,
they're really stacked, and you don't know how it happens.
It's like, oh my god, so perfect. I could see, Eugenio Suarez, Chandler Simpson. I can make Chandler Simpson work. It's definitely going to be fantasy team dependent. Like you can't draft Bryson Stott and Chandler Simpson and Nico Horner and expect to do well in your league. But if you have Chandler Simpson on the right team, yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a team build type of thing, but he could be a very useful piece in that team build. Let's second off it up, Gray. Let's look at Cleveland, where Cade Smith blows a save, but he got 2 more after that. Are you concerned about Cade Smith in Cleveland at all?
No, I'm not. I'm wondering too, because the Guardians, if they go with Cade Smith into next year as their closer, I feel like he's going to be underrated, I think, a little bit. I'm kind of excited. I know we're talking about this year with Cade Smith and we're not talking about next year, but Cade Smith for next year, I'm already excited about him for next year. But for this year, yes, Cade Smith, I think is is totally fine. I know he struggled a bit with a couple save chances, but I'm not really concerned about Cade Smith. I mean, his numbers are so good. He's got he's got insane strikeout. He's got exactly what you want to see for a closer. I think he could potentially, if the Guardians go in to next year with him as a closer, I could see him being a sneaky 12th closer off the board and become like a top 3 closer. I'm kind of into Cade Smith a lot. Of course, you never know too with Emmanuel Clase, potentially. I am what I picture is Clase is getting suspended for lifetime suspension, like the Friday after Thanksgiving, like the worst, but the day when no one's paying attention to any baseball news, that'll be the day Class A gets suspended for a lifetime. But I guess we'll see. Maybe he was maybe Ipe was using Class A's bet MGM account. I don't know.
That's when that's when it's really going to come out, Gray, is when something really bad happens. It's going to come out like right on the tail of that, or they're going to release it right before that. Like, I don't know, like impeachment or the Epstein list gets released. Like any of these things could happen, and that's when we'll get Class A news.
I was just thinking it would be like the gates open at the prison, letting out Ippy. And just as the gates open, MLB announces that Ippy is being looked into as he was in charge of Class A's FanDuel account.
He's really just that guy from Breaking Bad who likes going to jail. They're just paying him to go to jail for everybody. Pretty good deal.
Ippy will be in an Uber on the way home from jail, and the Uber driver puts on the sports radio. It's like Emmanuel Class A recently revealed that Ippy Missouri was in charge of his FanDuel account.
Hey, at least when he checks his bank account, there'll be money there again, though. That'll be it'll be a nice thing for him for the 24 hours he's a free man, Gray. Speaking of free men, is Ryan Walker going to be free of the closer duties after his blow up on Saturday, or are the Giants going to keep rolling him out there?
Unlike Cade Smith, I don't like Ryan Walker. I don't think Ryan Walker is very good. I wouldn't be shocked if he continues being the closer, though, for the rest of this season, because what's the point? San Francisco's not going anywhere, and there's really no one behind him who should take over for him. So I would say Ryan Walker is fairly safe getting the rest of the saves for the Giants, but I don't think he's that good. So, take it with a grain of salt. He may lose the job to a committee if he keeps blowing saves, but right now I think he's the closer.
Yeah, I think so too. It was a blown save, but he tends to kind of get back on track and get a couple saves after that. So as long as that happens, I don't know they're necessarily pulling him from the role. If you're looking around for somebody to grab, I think Joe Peguero's on the list. Maybe Spencer Bivens is on that list, and Joey Lucchesi out of the bullpen's been pretty good as well. So if you're looking around for every single possible save, waiting to see if Ryan Walker trips up, maybe look at those guys. Over in Dodgerland, Gray, Jack Dreyer gets a save. I mean, what are we doing here with the Dodgers? Like the trying to figure out their closer is just, it's impossible, but I'm going to ask you, Gray, figure it out for us.
I think on August 1st, I believe it was, that I said that the Dodgers were really dumb for not acquiring a bullpen arm or 3 at the trade deadline. And I mean, that's still, that's one of my few takes that actually aged well. I don't know what the Dodgers were doing then. I still don't know what they're doing. I think the Dodgers are sorely lacking in relievers. Tanner Scott's a mess. Blake Trining's awful. Kasparis looks okay, but he's not really a guy I think they want to go to that often as a closer. Jack Dreyer sounds like an 80s action hero. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. I guess Dreyer, since he got the last save, I guess go with him. Kasparis has been okay. I guess you could try him, but otherwise, I would try and avoid the Dodgers bullpen.
Yeah, I think that's probably for the best. I will say, if you're going to pick somebody up, Dreyer's been good on his own without the saves. So at least if you're going to pick somebody up, I would go with Dreyer because you're not going to blow up your ratios at least that way. Whereas the rest of this bullpen's been pretty bad. If it's not Dreyer, I don't know. It could be anybody at that point. Anthony Banda's been pretty solid, but I doubt they're going to give it to him. They'll probably go back to Tanner Scott or like Trinan or somebody else if Dreyer messes up, or just because they want to blow another game and don't want Jack Dreyer to get another save. Gray. Speaking of maybe not getting another save, are we going to get another one from Emilio Pagan this season? Because it's been a roller coaster, Gray.
Yeah, it hasn't been great. It's sort of been like a slow drip of like bad outings though. Like it hasn't been a tsunami of just like awfulness. Like he hasn't been like terrible in like back to back outings. So it's like he's kind of like been bad. And then he comes out the next game and he's okay. And then he's bad and then he's okay. So it's like, it's hard to see like them necessarily just replacing him. I don't know if he's definitely, I mean, he's been bad enough where, and Santillan's been pretty good. So I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they start going with Santillan, but I think at this point in the season, I also wouldn't be shocked to see Pagan continue to get saves, even if it's like, maybe 70-30 between him and Santillan, but I guess you could try Santillan. I mean, he even gave up a run in his save opportunity the other day, but I guess you could try Santillan. I would prefer you didn't try Pagan because he's been really bad. As someone who has Pagan in an NL only league where I really need saves, I'm running Pagan out there, but I haven't enjoyed it.
No, I don't think anybody's enjoyed it. But as you mentioned, it's been kind of an outing here and outing there. The numbers don't add up really well, though. And Gray, I told you, I warned you, nothing good comes from giving a Cubs pitcher the closer role. Daniel Palencia gets absolutely rocked, blows the save, and now he's on the IL with a shoulder issue. Who are you cursing with the Cubs role next?
It's the Cubs ninth inning is a little bit confusing because like Keller was the setup man, but Kittredge got the last couple saves when Palencia wasn't able to go. So Kittredge seems like the closer replacement, but Keller could be the guy. So honestly, I'd be 100% honest with you. I'm not really sure which way they go. I would go Kittredge and then Keller. They might go Keller, then Kittredge. If they really want to lose the ninth inning, they can go Porter Hodge. I mean, he's around, even though he has been better recently. I will say that. But yeah, I'd go Kittredge, then Keller would be my guess.
Yeah, Porter Hodge pulling his best Willy Adames in July right here, doing really good for about a month. Just to throw his name back in the hat here. Yeah, I think it's Kittredge. I do think he'll get the first shot over Keller. And then I'll throw out Caleb Thielbar because he's been the one person in this bullpen who doesn't suck. He is a lefty, though, so you're looking for like lefty-specific save opportunities here. But if you're looking for that, if you're to that desperation point in your league, like I said, Thielbar has been pretty good all season, so I really don't mind grabbing him. And he's not going to get the closer tag, so he shouldn't blow up and die. Moving on to Arizona, Taylor Rashi gets a save. Is he the closer? Does it matter in Arizona who the closer is?
Yeah, I mean, no, it doesn't matter. I kind of like Sal Frank still, but I mean, he is a lefty, so he's probably like you were mentioning with Thibar. Sal Frank's probably more situational. Woodford seemed like he was pulling away with the closer job, and then they went back to Rashi. I don't, yeah. I mean, I prefer not to do any of them. If I had my choice, I would choose none of them. But I guess I guess the guy who's gotten the last one is the one you want. So Rashi, I guess. But I mean, I don't really trust that.
Yeah, I don't trust that. I don't know that I really trust him either. So, I mean, you can grab him up. I think I would rather take my shot on Sal Frank and hope for a lefty save. Or I kind of like Woodford a little bit better. I don't particularly like him or Rashi a lot. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the person who gets the last one generally is the person you want, I guess, if you're trying to chase saves down. So for now, it's Rashi, but just beware the ratios may not be completely protected there. Let's move on and talk about give the people some waiver wire bats, Gray.
Okay. So on the 7-day player rater on Razzball.com, it seems that J-Day Blade, that's preseason sleeper J-Day Blade, huh? He's at the top of the board as guys who are unrostered in over 50% of leagues. So JJ Blade, Andrew Benintendi looks pretty good. Dalen Lill, he's been good for about 5 weeks now. He looks pretty good. He's been hitting cleanup for the Nats. Dalton Varsho probably should be rostered in more leagues or every league. He's been really solid. Jake Bowers, he's taken that Brewers first base job and running with it like Andrew Vaughn. Something good goes on in the Brewers first base job. Brandon Marsh has been hot. Kyle Teal, White Sox catcher, he's been hot recently. Drew Gilbert, Luis Garcia, the national second baseman, he's been hot. Jorge Polanco probably should be rostered in every league. He's been hot. Carson Kelly had a 2-homer game on Sunday. He's been hot. Winsel Perez, he's been hot for a couple months, I think. He's been pretty good. Anyway, Royce Lewis has been hot, stealing a bunch of bags. I don't know where those are coming from. Austin Hayes has been hot. Harrison Bader. Matt McLean, B-Don's favorite, has been hot, finally.
It's about time, Gray. I mean, this is just like mountains high enough, valleys low enough. That is the Matt McLean experience. That's how it's been all season. Some streaming options for your arms. It's a pretty good week for middling arms with good matchups. Johan Oviedo at Baltimore. Cam Schittler versus Detroit. Bryce Elder gets a 2-step versus the Cubs and versus Houston. Davis Martin at Cleveland. Emmett Sheehan versus Colorado. We talked about that earlier. Yoendris Gomez versus Tampa Bay at Cleveland. Parker Messick versus the White Sox. Max Scherzer versus Baltimore. Ian Seymour at the White Sox. Martin Perez at Cleveland, if you are looking down here. Mike Burrows as at Baltimore, at Washington. And Andrew Alvarez versus Pittsburgh. There are some streaming options for you. If you have specific questions, you can send them to us on Twitter. I am at RazBeaton. Gray runs the at Razzball account. You can find us on youtube.com/Razzball Fantasy or the comment section on Razzball.com. Send us questions, send us topics for the show, whatever you want to see here at the end of the season, and we will try and get to it. May your lineups be perfect. May you win all your matchups. I'll talk to you later. See you, Gray.
All right, Lates.